bit different. You'll notice that this isn't my usual day for uploading. So here's what the deal's gonna be. I will always upload a video on animation Tuesday evening / Wednesday morning, but midweek I might throw something else out there that's not about animation. In this case, I wanted to talk about novels. So for my first video about novels, we are going to kick things off with H.P. Lovecraft. So I just finished reading a book of short stories by H.P. Lovecraft. This collection is called The Best of H.P. Lovecraft, Blood-Curdling Tales of Horror and the Macabre. This book came from a secondhand bookstore, by the way. That's why it's in such bad condition. Yeah, that wasn't me, promise. So Lovecraft has always been on my list of authors to read, but I haven't gotten around to reading him until now. The main reason that I've always wanted to read Lovecraft is because I love Cthulhu. As far as pop cultural monster icons go, Cthulhu is a really cool beastie. And I particularly love Cthulhu's design because his head is a freaking octopus. In case you didn't know this about me, I am actually a really big deep sea creature nut. I absolutely love everything about the ocean and sea creatures like octopi and squids and cephalopods in general. So I've always particularly really loved Cthulhu's design, but I haven't actually read any of the Cthulhu mythos until now. So there are two things that I did not actually know about Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos. The first thing that I didn't know was that the Cthulhu mythos technically has what are referred to as two stages. The first stage being all of Lovecraft's original work on the character of Cthulhu, and the second being post-Lovecraft, where a bunch of other authors who really liked the Cthulhu mythos stepped in and expanded the universe. So I haven't delved at all into the second stage of the Cthulhu mythos. I've only read this one collection of Lovecraft stories. The second thing that I didn't know is that Cthulhu is not actually Lovecraft's big bad. Cthulhu is one of an entire massive pantheon of deities that Cthulhu created for his setting, not to mention a whole host of other alien races and eldritch creatures. Of the 16 short stories in this book, only one of them is about Cthulhu. A couple of the others reference him a little bit, but only the one is central to him. Now, I don't want to get too much into Lovecraft's writing styles and capabilities because, let's face it, he is one of the classic literary geniuses, and I don't think I really have what it takes to start touching his work and his abilities as a writer. However, what I do want to talk about is the nature of horror and why Lovecraft stories didn't particularly frighten me. So Lovecraft lived from 1890 to 1937. So the time period when he was publishing his work was during a time when science fiction and fantasy as genres were not non-existent, but definitely non-mainstream. The idea of non-human beings, alien races, or immortal peoples from different universes or worlds was not a particularly common one. And so to your average Joe on the street would probably be a pretty frightening concept. Nowadays, of course, our media is filled with non-human creatures. All of our science fiction features alien races, species. Our fantasy is filled with elves and fairies, and the idea of races that aren't human is not a scary idea to us anymore. It's kind of a cool one. For example, in one of the stories in here, The Shadow over Innsmouth, it centers around the fact that there is an underwater race of fish people, and it's just kind of how horrifying and disgusting this is. But in my mind, I was reading it going, okay, so there's a race of fish people. Cool! Lovecraft's primary horror and frighteningness focuses on the fear of the unknown. As is quoted on the back of the book by Lovecraft, the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. This is very true, but the idea of non-human beings and creatures is no longer particularly an unknown to us. Oh, sure, we haven't discovered the existence of any aliens yet, but a lot of people entertain the idea that they exist, and even if you don't believe they exist, you at least entertain the idea of their existence in your movies. So it's not a frightening or unknown concept to us anymore. Now, his writing is particularly effective and does bring out a very creepy vibe. His alien races or deities from other dimensions do all tend to be evil. There is that. There is the fact that they inspire cult followings that practice human sacrificing and things of that nature. But although those are elements to his plot weaving, they are not the central terror. The central terror still resides in the fact that there are creatures out there that are not human. And that otherness, that unhumanness, is what really creates the terror of Lovecraft, and which is why it isn't really all that scary to audiences today. Now, it's still a very good read. The stories are incredibly intriguing and strange. And I think, though, that if you can really put yourself into the mindset of a person from the 30s or earlier who does not only not believe that alien races exist, but has never even entertained the mere thought of alien races existing, you can probably steep yourself into it and give yourself a pretty good scare. The stories in this book tend to follow a fairly set formula where you start out with a skeptic, some scholarly professor type, who has never entertained the thought of such silly ideas as the supernatural or alien races. What nonsense. But the skeptic eventually, as they get more immersed in the happenings and follow the clues of what's going on and all these different things, and they eventually come to realize what's happening. They don't accept it at first, but then there's at the end a shocking crescendo, and it all builds up until the moment when they discover what it is that it was, and it's, oh, it wasn't human, it's terrifying. I think that it really pays off to be able to suspend your suspension of disbelief. The stories are definitely at least creepy, and his atmosphere is brilliant. I don't know if I'm going to really delve into the extended Cthulhu mythos universe, mostly because I just can't get over the idea of other authors writing about the characters of another author. It just all seems like glorified fanfic to me, and I'm just not into fanfic. I'm kind of a canon purist. But I really like Cthulhu, and Lovecraft didn't write nearly enough about it. I might not read some more Cthulhu, probably not in the next little while, though I'm kind of sated on Lovecraft. So that was it for my little video on the best of H.P. Lovecraft, blood-curdling tales of horror and the macabre. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might do some other videos on novels in the future. I'm currently reading The Fault in Our Stars, so I'll probably do a video on that one a little bit later. I will be making, of course, a video on animation this Wednesday. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you Wednesday.